Hello everybody, my name is Pixie People. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're new. And if you're new, like, subscribe, hit the post notification bells. And I'm hoping people that are returning already liked, subscribe, and hit the post notification bells. So, we continue our story with Krillin waking up in the hospital and just, leaving, really. Just nothing really wants to talk about. So he just decides to do what he did before the Saiyan saga, which was travel the world. So that's what he's doing. Also training, of course, and trying to perfect his, his berserker form that he got in the fighting Frieza. And he sometimes taps into it, but it's like really fleeting, and it hurts a lot to transform into and to transform out of, because he has to keep doing the whole, muscles bulking up and shrinking and bulking up and shrinking. But it's better now. It doesn't hurt as much. So he decides he just keeps training now. That's what Krillin's doing. And then we cut back, and then we cut over to Vegeta, who was out of the hospital before Krillin. So he wakes up. He woke up before Krillin, of course, so he already was awake. So he got out, seeing Krillin, the guy who, beat Frieza, kind of. So he gets irritated because that was supposed to be him. But he looks past it and gets out of his bed and goes. But he's gonna go fetch the arm Bulma made for him. The reason he knows that is because Bulma told him about it when he was half awake. But he remembers because that's important to him. So he walks in on Bulma making his arm and almost doing the finishing touches. And Bulma, says he should change out of those dirty clothes. And Vegeta looks at his clothes and realizes that they are ripped, torn, and he's bloodied. So he decides to just, take a shower and change the clothes. And yes, he puts on the famous pink coat and yellow pants with his black shoes. And he goes back to Bulma and, gets his new arm. Of course, he has to get used to it because it's a lot better than his old one. He also, if it charges ki, seeing if it will break his arm, but it doesn't, so he's hyped. And then, of course, he starts training again in the, gravity room that Bulma made. It's just the gravity room Bulma made after, making the gravity room in the spaceship. So Vegeta trains in there for the rest of the time. And of course, yes, he starts to get close with Bulma and stuff. Then, of course, after a while, we cut back to Krillin, which Krillin is, still training. And at one point, he really just goes all out. And his power grows like a lot. He even goes so far that his eyes start cracking again. And then he just cools it back down and then tries to do it again, and just keeps doing that. Eventually he gets so used to it to the point where he can just do it. He can just pop it, have the form without the broken eye thing, but it's weaker because he's not going all out. So after Krillin's that, let's just cut over to Then we cut to, where King Cold comes to the planet Earth. Because, Frieza died in the last part. Didn't get, revived. He's just permadead. So, Krillin and Vegeta sense this. Well, of course, all these fighters sense it. Then they go collect all the rest of the Dragon Balls and Bulma for some reason. And they get over there. And then when King Cold lands, he steps out of his ship and is about to fight the fighters, because he knows they're weak compared to him, until a warrior comes out of nowhere and kicks King Cold on the side, kicking him backwards into a cave, which gives Trunks, of course, to reveal himself. Not in Super Saiyan, by the way. He's actually out of Super Saiyan. And so, Cooler busts out of the thing and goes to fights for Trunks. And actually, Trunks is actually really cooking up Cooler without Super Saiyan. Yeah, this Trunks is weird, right? Why is he in Super Saiyan? I ain't gonna explain that yet. But yeah, he cooks up King Cold. King Cold does the whole, clearly it's the weapon that's beating him. Grabs a weapon, and then Trunks blows a hole through him and drops him. Then he grabs the sword and puts it into his sheath. Then he turns to the group and tells them completely straightforward that he's a time traveler from the future, and he's here to warn them about the androids. Which, you're like, yo, blunt, Trunks. And so, this Trunks explains what the androids are. And then Goku lands next to Trunks. And Trunks isn't even surprised. Actually, he's completely surprised. He's like thrown completely off, actually. He's confused on why Goku's here, considering Goku was supposed to come after King Cold, like a few months, actually. But Goku came to the pod because he sensed Trunks showing up. And Trunks just changed the timeline by making Goku come earlier. So Goku, talks to Trunks. But then Trunks just gives Goku a heart virus, because he tells Goku he's going to get the heart virus and have like real big chest pains and then die. So Goku takes it, and he says he'll get it later. And then Goku walks over to his friends and talks to them. And then Trunks looks over to them and tells them that he'll be back when the androids are going to appear. So everyone trains, including Gohanya, and everyone's training, and Vegeta leaves with his telling Bulma that he'll be back. Only Bulma, though. He takes his spaceship and leaves. And then, he's training. So basically, year skip training. Then Krillin and Krillin gets stronger, everyone just gets stronger. Then let's cut to the androids, showing up. And so when the androids show up, Yamcha gets a hole through him. R.I.P. to my goat. He's not dead, I just feel bad for him. And then Krillin actually shows up with Goku and Super Saiyan, of course, and they start fighting the androids. But of course, the clown robot starts winning when Goku's heart starts to act up. So he starts whooping Goku, but don't really worry. The goat Krillin is helping him and keeping him up. And then he actually transformed into his berserker form. But of course, not completely nuts. So he actually starts whooping up the clown robot until Vegeta shows up and kicks the clown robot, saying to Krillin, he got this. He even addresses him as Krillin, tells him he has this. He has respect for Krillin. And then he transforms into Super Saiyan. Vegeta turns into a Super Saiyan. Krillin shocked, and he whips the Khan's butt and tears its arm off, tears its arm off, and then big bangs it. I think he has that technique right now. If he doesn't, he has it now. I don't care. He big bangs the robot and obliterates it. And, Dr. Zero, seeing his robot's arms getting torn off, he just dips. And so he dips over to where his other androids are. And eventually Trunks shows up. Actually with this scar this time, like, down his eye. Not a big one, just a light cut to his eye, down to the eyebrow to his cheek. And then follows the group. And they go, and Vegeta says he's going to take on the androids himself, while Trunks tells him everyone knows who Trunks is now. They, figured it out. When Bulma gave birth to Trunks, they realized that kid looks exactly like that future guy, but with, the age. So, yeah, they know it's Trunks. So Trunks, realizing that he's already been born, he just realized to spill it all out. When they were flying over there, that he was a time traveler from the future timeline where Gohan and Krillin were the last alive, and Gohan got killed by the androids by getting 2v1'd. And Krillin was the last alive with him. And while they were training, Krillin told him, the ways of staying chill under pressure. So Trunks, gets the whole story from Krillin. And, well, of course he was getting the story from Gohan, but more Krillin this time. So Krillin explains that Goku got the heart virus when he just came back from the area. He got the heart virus as soon as he landed, and then he died because no one knew what to do. He landed, died, and that was it. And so it was even harder to realize that the androids were showing up, because there was no Goku. And then the androids just spawned in and just started wreaking havoc. And Krillin was the only one that lived in the original group. Well, actually, with Gohan, of course. And Krillin got killed by the androids when he got his face smashed into the ground, and then the other ones broke his spine. And then the Krillin shot Trunks away from the battle and saving him. Actually shot him with a ki blast really far away. And then he doesn't know what happened. But then he heard Krillin's ki die out, so he just assumed he died, which he did. Of course, I'm not going to make any of the bit stuff. And that's why he's here, because Krillin and Gohan gave those sacrifices so he could, save the universe. His universe. I mean, his timeline. Anyways, they get there and they're about to fight the androids. Krillin being a bit more cautious because, he could die here. And so is Vegeta. Vegeta's a bit more cautious, like I said, in the Namek Saga, so he isn't as bombastic and about to blow down the door. But when they get over to the, doors, they look in and see that androids 16, 17, and 18 are all up. Yeah, in this timeline, Dr. Dro brought up 16 outside of his capsule. So, but Trunks just says, screw this, in his mind, of course, and just transforms into Super Saiyan and Maseppos the entrance, blowing up the whole area, killing actually Dr. Dro, because Dr. Dro was actually alive and kept yapping. But she just got slaughtered. After, Trunks thinks he kills them, they just brush it off, the androids. And then the androids decide they're gonna what's some butt. Oh, forgot to mention that Goku got carried off by Yamcha through his house. And then the fight commences, with Vegeta and Krillin taking on... Actually, Krillin takes on 17 with the rest of the group, with Vegeta taking on Android 18. With Android 18 commenting on the fact that Vegeta has a robotic arm. Break Vegeta's arm, but Vegeta blocks it. So no meme where Vegeta holds his arm. He blocked it. So he deflects Android 18 away, and their fight continues. Longer, actually. And it's actually harder for Android to get an upper hand because of Vegeta's arm, his robot arm. Because it's so easy for him to just block her attacks. Because no matter how hard she hit, Vegeta's arm is just holding up. And so, Vegeta starts to win. I know, like, Power Skiller is going to be like, that doesn't make any sense. But I'm about to be like, it's just because Vegeta's new playstyle. Because he just plays defensive and less attacky. And of course, when eventually Vegeta gets tired and gets knocked the hell out, which he gets, like, his nose bashed in and then smashed to the ground with a overheaded foot, knocking Vegeta to the ground and out. And Krillin actually, let's cut over to Krillin and the other group's POV. So Trunks pulls out his sword immediately and is about to fight Android 17. 16 is sitting out, by the way. And they're fighting Android 17. Android 17 is doing really well. He even parries Krillin at one point, when Krillin goes to punch him, but he uses a barrier. And then he counters and kicks Krillin in the chest. But Krillin tanks this, grabs Android 17's leg, and spins him like Goku's classic Goku grab, where he spins and slams him to the ground, dribbling him in the air, where Trunks is up in the air, where he lands and uses his, Frieza thing that he did in the original timeline. But, of course, Android 17 isn't getting cut like that. Eventually, Krillin and Trunks are the last ones up, because everyone else got dropped. Yeah, Piccolo, and actually, I just realized this is the only guys there. Yeah, Piccolo gets dropped eventually, and it's just Krillin and Trunks up. So when Krillin and Trunks, whipping up, yeah, Gohan's still out. I forgot. Let's just say Gohan's sitting. Is just playing support right now. He's key blasting, keeping them from getting hit. But Android 17 gets annoyed and just key blasts Gohan, knocking him dead out in one key blast. So Krillin and Trunks are jumping him. Of course, Trunks knows Krillin's move, and he's playing support for Krillin. But eventually, Android 17 whittles him down and knocks him out. Actually, Krillin stays up long enough to, tell them to stop after they're trying to walk away. And of course, Android 18 is, attracted to short people. So she does a whole give Krillin a smooch on the cheek, which Krillin, is, whoa. He's flustered and just doesn't know what to do. And then Android 17, 18, and 16 leave. And then Krillin collapses. Eventually, Yamcha shows up and gives everyone the senzu beans that were on Krillin's belt. Even Krillin. Then Piccolo gets annoyed and flies off. So does Vegeta. And Trunks goes with Vegeta. And then it's just Krillin and Yamcha left. Oh, and Gohan. And when Gohan wakes up, he asks if he could just leave. And they just say, yeah, go to your dad. So he does. And just now it's Krillin. Just Yamcha and Krillin. Krillin explains what just happened. And Yamcha's like shocked that they all got destroyed. But then Krillin explains the, getting a smooch from 18. Which Yamcha's like, looks at him smugly, saying, maybe after you beat her, she'll turn good. And then Krillin thinks about that and thinks, huh. And then he thinks on this. Like, are they evil? Because really all they did was defend themselves after Trunks threw an attack at them. Did they really attack because they're evil, or did they attack in defense? So Krillin just flies off to think about this, with Yamcha just leaving to go see how Goku's doing. Actually flies over to a city. Ooh, you know what I'm doing here. And lands at the city to, contemplate. And he's walking around the city. Then he, stops in the middle of the city, realizing no cars are moving. There's no noise. He was so deep in thought he didn't even realize there's no one here, he says out loud. And then he senses an energy that's like ultra spikes with 5 separate keys, including himself. When Krillin realizes this, he goes to fly over to those keys, wondering what the heck, why is he sensing his own key right now? Lands, looks over, and sees this bug creature draining a man's life. Then he sees Piccolo land and confront the creature. Krillin decides he's going to be a little sneaky here, and decides to charge a Kienzon. And he's going to sneak up on Cell. While Piccolo is talking to Cell, yaps to him, tells him about what he is or who's he made out of. And Piccolo, gets grabbed eventually and stabbed, gets his arm sucked, and then Cell thinks he has the upper hand, and then keeps yapping, and then Piccolo tears it off or grows a new one and is about to kill Cell. And when he does the solar flare and tries to run away, Krillin jumps out with his Kienzon, powering it up to a lot more, throwing it at Cell, and cutting both his legs off. Of course, this doesn't slow him down at all. He loses his tail as well, and tries to fly away. But Krillin is on his booty. And when he tries to solar flare, Krillin's solar flare counters him. They do basically a cancel out solar flare, where they both get blinded, and so Cell crashes into something. Well, so does Krillin. And so Cell regenerates, and Krillin gets unblinded, with Cell also getting unblinded. And then Krillin, squares up with Cell. And Piccolo is getting over there, and Cell's about to get entrapped. When luckily, Cell just tunnels. He tunnels under the earth and decides to just dip. So Krillin tries to follow him, but realizes his body can't fit in there, because Cell is legit contorting himself so he can't get hurt. So Cell dips and luckily escapes. But that did strike the fear of God into Cell. Like, how did Krillin know he was there? He was yapping to himself in fear. How did Krillin know this, that, this? And he was irritated. But, he moves faster and decides he's just gonna go find the androids. Which Krillin tries to relocate his key, but loses Cell's key. Then Piccolo explains where to go, and Krillin points. And then Piccolo says, how the hell did he fit in there? Krillin says, struck his shoulder, and I don't know. Then Piccolo explains what Cell is. An organism made up of different warriors, and he's trying to absorb the androids. So Krillin and Piccolo take in this information and decide, okay, gotta find them androids, so this guy can't become the big threat. So they decide to find Goku first, because clearly the androids are going for Goku, because that's what Jiro was going for. So Piccolo and Krillin, I keep saying Vegeta a lot, but I'm not trying to. But Krillin and Piccolo fly over to where the androids are, which is where Goku is, and then they land where Goku is, which is Kame House. And then Piccolo scores up with 17, with Krillin going to talk to 18. And it's the exact same fight in the original. 17 and Piccolo are on par. And Krillin goes to talk 18, asking her what she did before she got here. With 18 being, herself, says that they took a car and drove around to find Goku, went to Chi-Chi's house, didn't find Goku, and just flew around for a bit. And that's it. Then they found Goku. And then Krillin asked what they plan to do with Goku. Fight him? And then Krillin asked, that it? Guess so. Well, until we get bored. And then Krillin and 18 talk, and Android realizes, why are they trying to kill Goku again? Or even attack Goku? Because they clearly can beat Goku, because they beat everyone else. So 18 starts to think. But before they can think enough, the fight transfers over to a different area. So they fly over there, and before the fight can intense it anymore, Cell pops up, jutting out of the ground. He tries to instantly absorb 17, but Piccolo shuts that down immediately with a blast. But don't worry, Cell is a bit stronger now, so that crap didn't hurt as much. So Krillin immediately starts to power up into his form to keep Cell here, not to dip away again. But before he can do that, 16's already on Cell, grabbing him, slamming him, and just Hell's flashing him. He yells, "Hell's Flash!" And then Krillin, Piccolo, 18, and 17 are like, what the heck? He was on that instantly. And then before 17 can get but before they can chillax, Cell tries to grab 18 this time, but Krillin, didn't get the time to move and is already powered up. So he's able to counterattack Cell and punch his face, knocking him away. And Cell gets enraged, breaks the ground, and decides, you know what, screw this. Flies into the air, and then Kiko Hose. Yeah, he does the Tien technique and just starts slamming it on different areas, trying to hit Krillin, 16, and Piccolo, purposely trying to avoid 18 and 17. But 17, being cocky, flies over there thinking, he's just being stupid. But Cell predicts this, gut checks 17, and then finally gets to absorb 17. Because he was playing stupid, and he was pressuring the Krillin, Piccolo, and 16, and 18 from him. And so he was able to regenerate 17 and get to his second form, where he promptly starts cooking everyone, immediately obliterating 16 for that Hell's Flash, of course, punching him so hard that his arms break off, his face blows off, and he gets sent into a buttload of trees. Then 18 and Krillin look at each other. Krillin immediately tells her with his eyes to leave. 18's trying to fight, trying to say with her eyes that she wants to stay and avenge her brother. And then Krillin says that can help him, so I can sense his energy inside Cell now, which Android takes face value and says, sure. And then she dips, with 16 following close behind with his arms regenerating, flying back to him. And before second form, imperfect Cell, semi-perfect Cell goes to chase after them, Piccolo and Krillin stand in his way. And he tries to go Solar Flare again, but Piccolo and Krillin double shoot his arms off. Yeah, you already know what's happening with Vegeta. He's training with Trunks in the time chamber. I'm just going to focus on these guys because nothing changes in the other area. Everyone else is doing the exact same thing they did in canon, and the only thing that's different is Krillin and Piccolo. So Krillin and Piccolo immediately shut that down by shooting his arms off, and then he grows them back. So he decides, fine, I'm strong enough to beat both of you. So he starts whooping up Krillin and Piccolo. So it's like bam, 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 gut check to Piccolo. Then he uses Piccolo as basically a boxing glove and punches Krillin with Piccolo. Then he pushes Piccolo and Krillin into a mountain. He tries to fly away again, but Krillin powers up into his berserker form. Not berserker form. Into his buff form, and then grabs Cell into a headlock like he did to Raditz. But of course, this hurts a lot more than Raditz. So when Cell is trying to get out, it hurts a whole lot, which gives Piccolo the time to fly up there and hit him with a Hell Zone grenade, which actually hits because of the lock. But this also hits Krillin, so Krillin could double confirm that crap. So Krillin's basically almost out. And Semi-Perfect Cell just decides he's done with this, and then shoots Piccolo so hard that he just completely goes unconscious with one shot. The attack was so big and the damage was so high that it just straight up knocks Piccolo out in one hit. So after Piccolo just dipped. Semi-Perfect Cell went to go find the androids. Then Goku shows up, saves Krillin and Piccolo, bringing them to the lookout so they can heal. Then he looks around and realizes Tien, Vegeta, and Trunks aren't there anymore. So he realizes where they went. And yes, in this timeline, Tien went with Vegeta and Trunks, with Vegeta not caring, considering he was still gonna kill Cell. But of course, Vegeta still is Vegeta, so he's gonna do the same thing he did like in the original timeline, where he's probably gonna feed him to 8. He's gonna feed the 18 to Semi-Perfect Cell. So they get over there, and Vegeta absolutely F's up Semi-Perfect Cell with grade 2. Yes, his arm was upgraded by Bulma to expand with his form after he got out of the time chamber. So he transforms into his grades 2 and whoops Semi-Perfect Cell. And Semi-Perfect Cell is like begging Vegeta to just let him absorb the Android 18, which Android 18 is right there. With 16 by her still. And before 16 can even, help, he just gets his head kicked off by Vegeta. Of course, he's already got his head kicked off in the original timeline, so he's fine. But his body just falls over. And when 18's about to get, absorbed, Trunks steps in this time because Trunks is a bit more defiant to his father. So he immediately goes into grade 2 too and fights Vegeta. And Tien, being there, decides he'll help here, and it was in the air the whole time and decides to Kikoho free Cell. So Cell starts to get slammed to the ground. And it hurts like a motherfucker right now. Then she asks Tien where she should go, but Tien doesn't know, because, he's mid-fight and can't really think. So 18 doesn't know what to do, so she just flies away, thinking that would work. But when we cut back to Trunks and Vegeta, Vegeta won. Because of his arm. It's really because of his arm that he won. So before 18 could leave, she gets shot out of the air, and then Vegeta knocks out Tien. Then he goes to give 17 Semi-Perfect Cell the thing, and then he just absorbs it, no problem, and is Perfect Cell. Yeah, he's semi-restricted. Like, he got semi-restricted there. So let's say he's actually kind of weaker, just because of that whole damage crap. So Vegeta goes to fight Perfect Cell, but of course you already know where this goes, and Vegeta realizes that grade 2 is horrendous for speed, so he decides to just power out of it immediately. able to block Cell's punches, because that is some strong ass metal. And he's like, beating them, just playing on defense with Super Saiyan 1 for speed, of course, because he really needs the speed right now. And he's, yeah. But of course, Cell is just so fast to the point where it's basically impossible to block. And Cell was just toying with him, making him think he could block all his attacks. But, he feints one attack and gut checks Vegeta, knocking him directly out of Super Saiyan, making him cough out saliva like every Dragon Ball character does when they get gut checked. And then Cell grabs Vegeta by his leg after he lifts him up, and then tosses him next to his son, and lets Goku take them away. And then he decides to and then before Goku leaves, he tells him that he's setting up a game called the Cell Games. And so so Goku leaves, telling Cell that they'll be ready. And he says it'll be in 5 days. So Goku eventually gets back to the thing, tells Gohan that they're going to go into the thing. Gohan just says, sure. Then they go in. And of course, Krillin finally wakes up after a long time. And it's like, there's no way he can train enough to beat Cell. Like, there's no way. He doesn't have the time. So he decides to find something, anything, to defeat Cell. But eventually, he ponders for a while, by the way. While Vegeta gets mad and grits his teeth, realizing that massive oversight he just realized about Grade 2. Grade 2 is, like, so useless in his mind because he realized how slow it is. And he wasted all that time just being strong to the point where he lost all his strength in speed. So Vegeta decides to do the complete opposite. He's going to train his speed instead of his strength, because he's already strong enough in Super Saiyan 1. He doesn't know why he went all the way up to get stronger. So Vegeta works on that, while Trunks decides he'll just train by himself. And of course, he also abandons Grade 2 because he realizes how useless it is. And Krillin just ponders still, until Goku and Gohan step out of the chamber in Super Saiyan, which Krillin asks how the heck they did that. And then Krillin never got to explain what the time chamber was, so Goku explains it to Krillin. And then Krillin's like, can I go in next? And then Goku asks, do you want to go in alone? And Krillin says, yes. And so Krillin gets the rest of the couple days to train by himself. The whole resting period for everyone else? Nah, he was training. Yeah. So eventually we get to the Cell Games. Krillin gets out of the gate like uber messed up. Like his muscles look torn. He's bleeding out of a cut up over his eye, and is missing a shirt. And so Krillin decides if he isn't gonna kill Cell, he might as well save 18 and 17. And so Krillin smashes his fist, and we see it glow. And then he gets into a new gi and goes to fight. And then they all group up and go on. Goku says he'll go first. Then Goku and Cell happens. Goku can, tell Gohan that he's next. Krillin immediately jumps up and says he's next. So Goku's plan is a little ruined. So Goku just, lets Krillin go, hoping Krillin doesn't die here. He saves that senzu bean that he was about to throw to Cell, and then tries to give Gohan a pep talk, saying, you're going to be next. So he tells Krillin all this and that. But Krillin came here to do one thing and one thing only, is to save the androids. And so Cell laughs at Krillin, telling him that there's no way he's as strong. He's significantly weaker than him. He beat a Vegeta a whole lot stronger than him. And so he tells Krillin it's over for him, really. He's just gonna kill him in an instant. So he immediately goes for like a slash, like that move that he does in the Dragon Ball Z game where he slashes the ground, boom. I can't remember what it's called. But before he can do that, he feels a sharp pain in his chest and his stomach, really. Then he looks down to see Krillin in his berserker form with his eyes snapped and his eyes actually really pointy, with his muscles not bulging, just thin, like basically in his normal form. And then Krillin starts to regurgitate. And then we see Krillin, like, breaking down, like his body's, like, shutting down. And we see him cough out Android 18. And goes back to semi-perfect Cell. And Krillin isn't done yet, and grabs Cell into, like, a arm lock, and then charges at the attack again, with his eyes reforming, with, like, let's say, a red aura, and then he smashes his fist with the red aura fist into Cell's chest again, which makes him regurgitate 17, and then Cell reverts right back to his original form, and is, like, heaving right now, and seething as well, like looking at Krillin with a death stare, but Krillin doesn't care, and grabs Cell with, like, a suplex move. I mean, actually, he just grabs Cell, like, into a bear hug, locking both his arms and body together, so he can't blow himself up. And then Krillin boosts into the sky, and then self-destructs, killing Cell and killing himself at the same time, with his body landing to the ground, dead, with Cell being no more. And that's the Cell saga. Yeah, no, like, Cell coming back to life from his nucleus? Nothing. Krillin just kills Cell. And that's how Krillin beats Cell in 3 moves. And then everyone's, like, confuddled, like, what? Krillin, out of all the Z fighters, took out Cell with 3 moves. No one saw this coming. They were, like, all shocked. They were so shocked that they didn't even realize Krillin died. And they were, like, wondering what happened. Goku's the most shocked because he did not expect Krillin to get that strong in the time chamber in that little time. While Goku was spreading out his horizons, training Goku and doing all this stuff, Krillin was working on 3 things, and that's it. Which made him just super strong. Only those moves, though. And if Krillin threw anything else or did not land all 3 of those moves, donezo. So that was just pure luck on Krillin's part. And then eventually they realized Krillin died and were all grieving about him, with 18 waking up, 17 being a lot more out of it because he was absorbed first. So 18 realized who saved her life, which was Krillin, and actually tears up slightly, which she hasn't teared up in forever, and is, like, touching her tears in shock. Then she gets up, picks up her brother, and then leaves, with everyone just letting her leave because they're all grieving Krillin right now, because, you know, Krillin can't be revived twice. He's basically dead. Then Krillin gets to the overworld, talks to King Yama again, because they talked before, and then he also travels Snake Way and chills at King Kai's. Asks King Kai if he could talk to everyone. King Kai says, well, you did save the universe, and then gives him the mic, I guess. Then Krillin explains that he's sorry that he had to go, but he saw it as the only way to get rid of Cell. And Goku's, flat out tells him that Gohan legit had the strength to beat Cell. But Krillin says that he was never going to let Gohan take on the big bad, because he's just a kid. Which makes Goku basically shocks him into reality, realizing his son isn't a warrior, he's his kid. He shouldn't be thinking him as a warrior, he should be thinking him as a child. And then he relaxes and tells Gohan that if he doesn't want to train, then that's on him. Then Gohan says that he'd like to train more to see what his dad was talking about. Which Chi-Chi takes, fine. Only a little, though. You gotta still focus on your training stuff. Which Krillin giggles off, and then Krillin gets into contact with 18, who's with 17, who is just waking up. And then Krillin tells 18 to live her life and live how she wants, and not how Jiro thought. And then 18 said she was already going to do that. Then she says, "Thank you. I'd love to meet you again." Which Krillin blushes and smiles, with 18 also blushing and lightly smirking. And that's where I'm going to leave this Cell saga. Yeah, I know you're all going to think that Krillin wasn't going to do anything this saga. Nah. Out 3 moves with Cell. Anyways, hope you like Cell getting absolutely destroyed. Anyways, like, subscribe, hit the post notification bells. Hope you liked the video.